Good evening, everybody. It is once again Ted, the Speed Learner, and I'm going to do a couple things that I need to do to get everything set up the way it's supposed to. So bear with me on this. It's great to see you guys once again, and I had to really wait until the severe weather left our area. The reason I did that is because, well, we've had severe weather practically every single time I've tried to do a live stream in the last month or two. And that is one of the biggest reasons why I have not been on the air. As a matter of fact, we've had severe weather tonight. It just wasn't here. It was in southern Illinois, but we had severe weather. And I was like, oh no, not again. Here I am trying to run a live stream and we don't have uh we're not having a live stream. So anyway, so what I'm doing here, um, if I get time tonight, I'm going to do this. If I don't, I won't. But we're going to cover another 4 letters of cursive. There we go. That's much better. Let's get that off the screen. Let's go over here. Like I said, good evening, everybody. And it's great to see you guys once again. I know I got my dry erase board over here. I got 2 dry erase boards. One is small, one is big. When I have to do the larger illustrations, that's what I use the big one for. The smaller ones are there mostly because I can write easily on them, and I don't have a lot to write in the first place. So there you go. But anyway, this is probably now you see that flashing in the back. That's actually a very tiny disco ball. But at night it gets so bright I can't get any sleep. So I put a little cup like that and put a little covering on it so it's not so bright and I can still see it. That's why. Okay, I see I've got somebody in the room. I encourage each and every one of you, whoever comes into this room, please let me know who you are so I know who I'm talking to. Because if I don't know who I'm talking to, well, there you go. But anyway, like I said, there's been severe weather in our area, and it's been that way since about late April. And I actually had a vacation last week. And what do you know? The night I'm going to do a live stream, I've got all my notes ready to go. I actually did notes on Monday night, right before the Tuesday severe weather event. And the severe weather never made it here. It went up north, and I could tell you all about it, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to waste a ton of your time. But it went up north. So you're like, okay, cool. Well, there you go. Okay. So that's why I didn't run a live stream last week. This week, well, we just had another round of severe weather. It actually went south of us, and there are plenty of YouTube channels that'll show you all kinds of video of the actual tornadoes that actually did strike southern Illinois. I feel bad for them, but you know how that is. So, uh, at this point in the game, I'm working only 30 hours a week, and I'm sure you guys have all seen your hours get cut. And before I go into anything like that, I wanted to say to you guys that um, let me try to put it this way. Um, Before I talk about the lower hours thing, uh, I want to tell you guys that this is not the kind of channel that will stand there. I like it when you guys subscribe to me. Don't get me wrong. I love that. And if you want to like my videos, that's fine. But I'm going to tell you the truth. It will not get my videos spread around any faster. A lot of these YouTube channels have been telling you this, and it's a total lie. I don't know where they're getting their information, but it's not true. I have been watching Daryl Lee's, I watched Roberto Blake, and I can tell you that On the bottom of the list of things that will get your video out to the public are the like buttons and the subscribe. That doesn't mean you shouldn't subscribe. I think you should. Hey, this is a great educational channel. You'll learn a lot from me. I don't put out videos very often, and that's because I got over 4,000 of them. Why should I just keep putting them out? And I'll explain that in a little bit. But anyway, the point is that the like button and the subscribe button is not going to dramatically change how much my videos get out to anything. There are only two things that will change it. Two, just two. One is the watch time, and the other is the comment section. When you leave me nice comments, that does change things. Okay? Changes things rather dramatically, as a matter of fact. So leaving nice comments and also watching my videos all the way through, that motivates YouTube. Why? Because YouTube is trying to see if my channel will keep you on their platform. That's why. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. Yep, that is true. And if my videos are not keeping you on their platform, they're not going to share them. Simple as that. So anyway, here's the first thing I want you to do. I want you, if you're not watching this live, you're watching this live, I want you to tell me right over here in the chat. Tell me in the chat what I'm wanting you to tell me. Otherwise, leave them down here in the comments section below, because I actually do read my comments. Believe it or not, I actually do. And I'm trying to respond to you as well. But here's the thing. I want you to tell me how much you paid last time for a box of cereal. Right now, unless the cereal's on sale, now I have not bought cereal in some time. I do buy the Quick Oats. Okay, I do buy oatmeal. I buy lots of it, but I don't buy any like Frosted Flakes or anything like that because I just can't digest them. It's a long story, and I'm not going to get into that here. But I just can't digest that kind of food. Processed food just doesn't want to go through me anymore. So there you go. But anyway, I saw on the store shelves, I actually went shopping. I looked down the cereal aisle because I had to get my oatmeal. And I have seen boxes of cereal as high as $6 and $7 a box. Think about that for a second. $6 and $7 a box. I also want you to tell me, whether it be in the chat or down here in the comments below, how much you're paying for a gallon of gasoline. Last time I went to get gas, it was $3.75 a gallon. And you don't have to be exact with this, okay? But be approximate. Just give you an approximate ballpark figure of how much you are paying per month for your electric bill. You know that even with a small place like this, I am paying somewhere around $250 a month. That ought to be a shocker. Nah, that's not an exact figure. That's just a ballpark. But approximately $250 a month is leaving my house. That. And have you seen your insurance, your car insurance? It is entirely possible, because at the end of summer, I have to pay my car insurance again. I pay it every 6 months. It is entirely possible that I'll have to pay yet another $100. Now I'm paying roughly about $400 every month, every 6 months. Sorry, roughly about $400 every 6 months, and not an exact figure. It's kind of a ballpark, but ballpark wise, I'm paying roughly about $400 every 6 months. Can you imagine my bill going up yet another $100 for another 6 months? My budget's stretched to the gills right now. Can you imagine paying that? Yeah. And right now, my hours are 30 hours a week. Not 40, not 35, 30. Now I'm supposed to pay that bill with that. And still keep my home and keep my electricity. It's becoming a real struggle here, folks. Now, that doesn't mean I want you guys to send me money. No, that's not the case. The point I'm trying to tell you is I have ways of getting the income I need to survive. That is not a problem. Okay. However, what about you guys? How are you getting your money? Think about it for a second. How are you doing it? You guys might be in a little more trouble. You might be a little more trouble than I am. So, like I said, in the comments section below, if you're not watching me live, if you're watching me live, put it in the live chat. If you're not, put it down here in the comment section below. How much you spent last time to buy a box of cereal? Because if you're not getting a sale price, you're paying $6, maybe $7 a box. How much you're paying a gallon of gasoline? Right around here is $3.75. I can't even imagine where some of these places are. Another thing is how much you paying for your electric bill every month, and then how much are you paying every 6 months for your car insurance? You don't have to be exact; just be an approximate ballpark figure. You don't have to say exactly. Not requiring you to. I'm just saying the approximate. Just take a good guess and say it. I'd like to know. Let me tell you something. People are saying, well, it's the greedy corporation's fault that we're all in this mess. Nope. Believe it or not, and you have to really think outside the box to understand this. Okay? You have to think outside the box, and I'm going to help you think outside the box because you're not going to understand it unless I explain it to you. Okay? Because you're going to be sitting there going, I don't understand. But the reason why these prices are so high right now is because of you. Like, wait, how is it our problem? Okay, I'll explain that. All right. Now, here's the thing. I taught you guys all these memory techniques and the speed reading. I taught you this kind of stuff to enhance your observation skills. What have you been observing lately? What about your friends? What about your family? Really more your friends than your family, because your family's probably doing okay, but it's your friends. Have you been talking to them lately? Did you ask them what they learned in school? Did you notice? I have. Oh my gosh, yes. I have been talking to these people. And I tell you what I have seen is anything but education. They don't know this stuff. And you guys, in order to change things, need to start spreading my videos to your friends and say, look, you need to watch this guy because, and you have to get them to realize what their situation is. They don't even know. I have people, and I have observed this, that will actually go into a store, clearly look at the sign that shows the hours of operation. They'll walk right past it and ask the clerk when their store opens and when their store closes. That's not an observant person, people. Okay? You see, the problem's not directly you. The problem is the people around you. They don't know what you know. Don't assume that they do. That's where your problem comes in. You're thinking that the problem is directly, but it's not. It's indirectly you. Okay, that's why I say you have to think outside the box because you are not seeing what's going on with your friends. Your friends do not know what you know. If they did, this economy would change radically, but they don't. They don't. You're assuming that they know what you know. They don't. Erase that from your head. They don't know what you know because if they did know what you know, our economy would change radically. Why? Because they get better jobs. If they had better jobs, they'd have better insurance and they'd be able to afford more things. So, like I said, these people that you think know what you know probably don't. You're just assuming that. Stop that. That's the first thing you need to do is get that out of your head that they know what you know. Because if you think that they know what you know, they don't. You got to sit them down and say, you don't understand. You're in a dire financial situation and you have no clue. And I'll tell you what I saw last year at the Labor Day parade. And you can watch it in the actual video that I made of that Labor Day parade. There was a guy going over there and he was saying, Uh, we got you the living wage. We got you the living wage. There's one problem with that. For the intelligent people, they did. That's because the intelligent people see things and seize on opportunities that other people don't. Like, really? That's right. They see things and they seize upon opportunities that other people don't. That's why the ones that don't have a lot of intelligence are getting poorer and poorer and poorer because they're not like us. Your only mistake, people, is you're assuming that your friends know what you know. Don't assume that anymore. That is not true. And I'm going to show you that today because one of the first things I'm going to tape, I'm going to actually record this, and I've already got the illustrations ready to go. I'm going to show people how to use. There's an application on your phone that you can load up if you want to. I wouldn't if I were you, but you do it. You do whatever you want. I will never load Cash App on my phone. We'll never do it. It just won't happen. But I'm going to show you guys how to use it because I have had people, I have friends or whatever that do use this application. Okay, they do. And I'm going to show you guys how to use it, even though with you being one of my students, I don't want you using it. And there's a reason for that, because it is not FDIC insured. And I'm going to mention that in the video. It is not FDIC insured. So when your money disappears, it's gone. It's not run by a real bank. Not in the truest sense. You can't go to a brick and mortar bank and get money out of them or put money into it. I have a real live bank account with a real live bank that's brick and mortar, and I can go there anytime and get my money out or put my money in. That's why I don't want you guys doing this. These people, the ones I'm talking about, the friends that you have that you think that, like I say, you think they're smart. They're not, because they can't actually put money on their Cash App cards. How do you not be able to do that? I'm going to show you. All right. I got some pretty funky illustrations, but yep, you're going to see that. So that's going to be my first video. And I'm going to talk about that. So like I said, you say, well, you mean really it's our fault that our economy is this way? In a weird sense, it is. Remember I told you have to think outside the box before you get the idea how it could actually be your fault? Because you're not seeing what your friends have learned. You need to start talking to them. You need to start evaluating what they have learned and what they have not. And if they don't know what you know, you need to share it with them. Because if you do, the economy will change. I promise you that. But you're going to have to take the first step and ask them how much they know, because you're going to be surprised at what they tell you. You're going to be shocked because you've been one of my students. You know what I know. And that makes you smarter. And you're finding the better jobs. And you're finding the better opportunities. And you're seizing upon them. And you're doing better than they are. Why? Because they don't know what you know. And you need to tell them. The first step, if you want to change the economy, is you got to sit them down and find out what they do and do not know. And if they don't know it, they need to learn it. And you tell them that the reason why that they are doing so poorly is because they lack observation skills. Like I said, when they told you guys you get the living wage, the intelligent people are getting it because they seize upon opportunities, and that's how they make money. Everybody else doesn't. And that's because they don't know what we know. That's why your economy is the way it is. Are you seeing what I'm talking about, thinking outside the box? It's not really you that has the problem. It's them that has the problem, but you are not aware that they have a problem because you are not asking them. You need to sit them down and tell them what you've learned from me. And as soon as you do that, things will change. But you got to take the first step. I don't care if they're your neighbor, if they're just some friend, if they're just somebody it's a casual acquaintance. You sit them down and you tell them, you don't know what Ted knows. Because if you did, you'd be able to seize upon opportunities and you would prosper. The intelligent people will benefit from the living wage. Everybody else will not. Oh, I'm Ted. Hello, I'm Ted. How's it going? Glad to join. Glad you joined. You're John Israel. I can't read that last name. Give me a second here. Balala. I can't even pronounce the last name. Sorry. Well, welcome. So, like I said, and I warned you to think outside the box before you listen to me because I wanted you to listen outside the box. The reason why this economy is your fault is because you're not aware that your friends do not know what you know. If they knew what you knew, they'd be doing better and the economy would change. So you need to explain it to them. Say, hey, man, you're not even aware of this because you're not talking to them. Sit them down, talk to them, tell them what's going on, and tell them to start watching me, and I guarantee you their situation will change. Hey, so why is the insurance so high? We already know why the electricity's so high. We know why the food's so high. We also know why the gas is so high. Why is the insurance so high? Did you see the tornadoes lately? They've had so much storm damage all over the United States, they can't keep up. That's why. But you guys are more fortunate. Like I said, the more observational you become, the more likely you'll seize upon opportunities and you'll make money while everybody else doesn't. The ones who learn from me, the ones who learn from you, they'll make money. Everybody else won't. And you say, well, wait a minute. Why wouldn't they watch you? I mean, you're intelligent. You've proven that. You've given us 4,000 videos. You've taught us a lot of stuff over the years. Why aren't they watching you? Because a lot of the viewers that come to my channel are younger viewers, and they just presume that because I look older, I must not know anything. Well, you're just a boomer. Yeah, well, I'm not hungry. How about you? And they complain about being hungry, yet they won't take the first step to get themselves out of it. Well, you don't have a lot of graphics. No, I don't. But that's not important. What is important is what I tell you guys. What I tell you guys is important. I don't, graphics are not important. Thumbnails are not important. Titles are not important. What is important is what I'm telling you. That's what's important. And if you start watching my videos, start paying attention, you will see things that other people won't see. And then you'll understand why they're poor and you're not. So, like I said, sit with them, talk to them, find out how much they've been taught, and it's going to shock the daylights out of you when you find out how little they've been taught. And if you want to financially support me, that's up to you. If you do, I sell Kindle books. I got 5 Kindle books, and you can buy them. You let me know. I'll send you hyperlinks, and you can go check them out. So anyway, everybody is welcome here. Let's get into learning some stuff, and we'll begin the night. Okay? Got my Kodak Easy Share, and we'll begin. So again, I want to stress with you, when you're dealing with what I'm talking about, you have to think outside the box. If you think what's in the box, you're not going to make it. You've got to think outside the box. You want to improve the economy? You can, but you've got to talk to your friends and tell them they don't know what you know. And if they did know what you know, they would do better in this economy. Simple as that. So, hopefully you learned something from that. Like I said, you have to think outside the box. I know I said something rather bizarre, If you think carefully about what I just said, you'll get it. All right. Okay. Yeah, that did not work. Let's try that again, shall we? Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner. And tonight, you're probably asking yourself if you have loaded, there is an application you can actually load on your phone called Cash App. And I'm sure a lot of your friends have been using it. Okay. And you're sitting there going, well, I don't know how to load paper money, which would be like your dollar bills and your coins, US currency. How do I load that onto Cash App? Glad you asked. Because in just a moment, I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have some illustrations on this video that will show you exactly how that is to be done. Okay. But before I do, I just wanted to tell you guys that the Federal Deposit Insurance Company, whether you've ever heard of FDIC or not, the Federal Deposit Insurance Company does not insure the money that you place on the Cash App application. They don't. If you go to a regular bank, it's insured up to $250,000. If not, then it's gone. If it gets taken, it's gone. You can't get it back. That's the problem. Now you say, well, wait a minute. You mean the banks have this FDIC insurance? Absolutely. There is a Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation that was set up by the United States government. And if something happens to your bank account at that bank, your brick and mortar bank, then the government will pay you back up to $250,000. It depends on how much you had in the bank in the first place. So let's say you had $10,000 in the bank. Well, then the government would say, okay, since that $10,000 was illegally taken from you, we're going to put it back. That's how FDIC insurance works. However, if you go through Cash App, it disappears, it's gone. You do not want to be putting $10,000 on Cash App. Really bad idea. Okay? Unless you want your money to just disappear, I wouldn't do it. You do whatever you like. I'm telling you, that's not a good idea. Okay. So, how do you put money on Cash App? Well, let's take a look at the first illustration here. And the first illustration has these little icons. Okay, they're graphical user interface icons at the bottom of the screen. And you'll notice that the one on the far left will either look like a dollar sign or a house. It depends on whether you have money in Cash App or you don't. If you have money in Cash App, there'll be a dollar sign. If you don't, there'll be a little house. Press on it. Then you're going to see a humongous list of options. And you can see I've got the next illustration up here right now. You'll see a list of options, okay? And one of those options says deposit paper money. And what you do is you'd actually tap with your finger, hit deposit paper money, and boom, it takes you to the next screen. The next screen will come up with some kind of a map. Now, obviously, the map you're seeing on your screen right now is not what you'll see on that screen. Okay, but there'll be a little button at the bottom. You hit it, and that map will appear. Cool. Now, the last part of this is that this thing will show you a barcode. Now, I really want to see just how many people would be ridiculous enough to try to scan the barcode from this video and try to load Cash App on something. No, it ain't going to work. That'd be funny, but it ain't going to work. So anyway, but you'll see a barcode much like this. And then what you would do is you show that barcode to the cashier. The cashier would scan that barcode, type in the amount you wanted to put on Cash App, you hand them the money, and it's put on Cash App. And that's how Cash App actually works. Now, other cards don't work that way. I know that Chime, I know there's a way you could do that as far as show a barcode with Chime. Usually people just swipe their cards for Chime, but I know that there actually is a barcode that you can actually get from Chime to do that with. But Cash App, that's how you load it. All right. So now I've shown you how to do this. All right. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Okay. So what'd you learn? Did you learn anything? All right. Let me get a drink of water here, and I will go ahead and start my next video. This one is going to become a little more detailed, and it's going to require me to actually use. Now, the last time I was going to do a live stream, the reason why I could not do it, well, because of severe weather, that was part of it. The other reason was my dry erase markers, they dried out. So I had to get new markers, and unfortunately, with severe weather, I couldn't do that. So anyway, we're going to do this video. There are a lot of names that I'm going to put on this video, and I'm going to show them right here on my dry erase board. So anybody in here right now? Obviously not. Okay. All right. Good evening, everybody. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and I'm going to cover a topic tonight you might not think is very, very important, but actually it is. Okay. But before I do, I'm going to tell you a couple things. Number one, I am not like other YouTube channels that's going to tell you, hey, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button because it's going to share the video more. Actually, I don't know who told all these people all this, but that's not the case. We do want you to subscribe, and if you want to like the video, that's fine. But the two most important things you could do for me tonight is number one, watch this video all the way through. And the second thing you could do for me is to actually leave me a nice comment down here in the comment section below. And the reason why those things are important is because those are the two things that get my videos shared around on YouTube. Why? Because YouTube is trying to see how long you stay on their platform to see if my videos are keeping you on their platform. If they are, they share them. Otherwise, they don't. So, unlike other YouTube channels, I am not going to tell you to hit the like and subscribe because even though they're nice to have, they aren't going to make that much of a difference when my videos get shared. Watch time and an increase in watch time and nice comments on my videos, that does change things. So if you really want to change things on this video, leave me a nice comment, watch this video all the way through, and encourage your friends to do the same thing. All right. The other thing I'm going to tell you is that I have published 5 Kindle books. If you want to buy any of them, you let me know in the comment section below, and I'll send you a link to them, and you can buy them. Okay? All right. Now then, why would you need to know about the unipolar transistor? Well, if you have a solid state drive, you're going to see the letters MOSFET. Well, unipolar transistors are also known as the field effect transistors. And this is vital to know because this is the reason why, you see, when you had the old hard drives, what you actually had was a little disc like that. Okay, it was a spindle disc, and it worked a lot like a record player. You had this little record arm here, okay, and the disc would spin and the record arm would read whatever was on the disc. Well, that's not the way it is anymore. Okay. You say, well, what about these new solid state drives? Why are they so different? Well, I'm going to explain that to you in this video tonight. why you need to know about unipolar transistors. And I've already covered transistors kind of in great detail on my YouTube channel so far, but now we're going to get into the big one. Okay. So the FET part of MOSFET, okay, because I got to do one more video about MOSFET. The FET part is field effect transistor. That means your data is stored on field effect transistors, not on a spinning disk. And that creates a nightmare if you're trying to retrieve your data, especially if your hard drive gets corrupted somehow. There you go. Now, to begin this video, I took some notes here. I said, do you recall my discussion about the bipolar transistor? I have a video about bipolar transistors, and if you want to link to that, just let me know, and I'll send you there. Okay, I may even put one here at the end of this video. But let's go on. The bipolar transistors, from what I understand, were actually created before the unipolar transistors. If I got that information wrong, you can leave that in the comment section below, and I'll make whatever adjustments in the next video. Okay? In this video, I will show you how unipolar transistors were created and what these transistors actually do. Now, there are several names involved in the creation and the history of unipolar transistors. The first name is Mr. Julius and Edgar and Lillenfeld. There you go. Julius Edgar Lillenfeld. Okay. Now, this gentleman was born in Ukraine in 1882. That was a long time ago. Okay. He studied physics at the Friedrich Wilhelm University in Berlin, Germany. He finally received his doctorate in 1905. In a short period of time, he became a professor at the Leipzig University, or Leipzig, or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce that university's name. In the early 1920s, Mr. Lillenfeld, this guy right here, decided to travel to the United States to fight for patents on his X-ray tubes. He also spent some time in New York, where he took temporary assignments from the New York University. It was during his time visiting the state of New York where he conducted some experiments and somehow concluded that semiconductors would someday replace vacuum tubes for electronics. Now, no one is exactly sure how he came to that conclusion. If you want to research that for yourself, please go ahead. Now, Mr. Lillenfeld studied vacuum discharges and field emissions. If you're wondering what a field emission is, then let me try to explain. I may not get this exactly right, but we'll try. Field emissions are emissions of electrons due to generated electrostatic fields. Okay, let me say that again. Field emissions are emissions of electrons. Okay, you have to keep in mind when you have atomic structures, you can have protons, which are positively charged particles, neutrons, which are negatively charged particles, and electrons. Oh, okay, sorry, scratch that. Let's try it again. You'll have protons, which are positively charged, neutrons that don't hold a charge, and electrons, which are negatively charged. Okay, so hopefully you got that one right. Anyway, field emissions are emissions of electrons due to generated electrostatic fields. When vacuum tubes were created, electrons were discharged due to some kind of material being exposed to a heat source. Field emissions work in a similar way, but as I said before, electrons are discharged due to a material that is exposed to an electrostatic field. Now, I'm going to put a hyperlink in the description box of this video that will further explain how these electrostatic fields work and how field emissions work and the whole 9 yards. It'll explain a lot better than what I'm doing in this video, but at least now you know what's going on. Now, according to the web article I'm providing to you, and that I'm going to provide two of them, okay? Provide two web articles here. Mr. Lilienfeld submitted a patent request to the Canadian government in 1925. This patent request was due to his work on the method and apparatus for controlling electric currents. He filed the same patent in the United States the very next year. This patent was finally approved in 1930. Although Mr. Lilienfeld's patent was approved, there is no evidence that he ever created a prototype field effect transistor or attempted to control electric currents with any apparatus. So we have to continue our discussion with a second person's name. Okay? And who's the second person? Well, his name is Mr. John Bardeen. Okay? Now, Mr. John Bardeen was born 2 years after the Great San Francisco earthquake of 1906. Mr. Bardeen was born in the state of Wisconsin. That's this guy right here. Okay. And if you don't know, Wisconsin is very famous. The state of Wisconsin is very famous for producing cheese. Mr. Bardeen had 4 other siblings. His father was the dean of the University of Wisconsin Medical School, and his mother was an art historian. Mr. Bardeen's academic achievements were well known. In elementary school, he was promoted 3 grades at the tender age of 9 years old. He quickly moved through high school and began attending the University of Wisconsin. He pursued an electrical engineering degree. Mr. Bardeen learned quantum mechanics from Professor John Van Vleck. Okay, got another name we got to tell you about. So here we go. There's his name, John Van Vleck. Mr. Bardeen finally acquired a Bachelor's of Science degree the same year that the stock market crashed in 1929. Mr. Bardeen was hired by the Gulf Research and Development Corporation. One of Mr. Bardeen's professor, Mr. Bardeen at that time had a professor, and his name was Leo Peters. There you go. All right. So Mr. Bardeen's professor, Leo Peters, was also hired by the Gulf Research and Development Corporation. Mr. Bardeen studied oil prospecting. During World War II, magnetic surveys were developed. The technology behind the magnetic surveys benefited from the advent of what was at the time called modern aviation. Mr. Bardeen utilized magnetic surveys to interpret geological features. This benefited the financial bottom line of the Gulf Research and Development Corporation. But this wasn't the last achievement of Mr. Bardeen. Oh no. During the Great Depression, Mr. Bardeen left the Gulf Research and Development Corporation and began taking courses at Princeton University. He studied mathematical physics. Mr. Bardeen studied solid-state physics under the direction of Professor E.P. Wigner. So we got another name here. There's his name. Okay. Before the Great Depression ended, Mr. Bardeen acquired a PhD from Princeton. Mr. Bardeen was fortunate enough to work with his former professor, John Van Vleck, which I mentioned earlier. And the two of them worked on solid-state physics. Mr. Bardeen finally became an assistant professor at the University of Minnesota, but his career was cut short by World War II. He began to work at the Naval Ordnance Laboratory in Washington, D.C. When the war was over, Mr. Bardeen started working at the Bell Laboratory. Now, in case you don't know who the Bell Laboratory is, that would be the phone company laboratory. You remember how they used to have Illinois Bell, and you have to had the Bell Corporation before you had the AT&T, which is American Telephone and Telegraph. Same difference. Okay. Mr. Bardeen began working with semiconductors. That's because they eventually replaced vacuum tubes in all kinds of electronic devices. This would be your televisions, your telephones, your radios. The list goes on and on. What Mr. Bardeen wanted to know is how semiconductors conducted electrons. Okay? In other words, how electrons went from one place to another and why they generated electric current. And I think I've already talked about that with my videos about watt, volt, and amp. Okay, I've talked about that extensively. It was this research that led to the creation of the first modern day transistor. Transistors are components that amplify electronic signals. They can also switch electronic signals. I will explain all of this in a later video. The advantage of using semiconductors in modern day electronics is that they are smaller than vacuum tubes. That's why you don't see vacuum tubes anymore. Mr. Bardeen worked with two other researchers. The names of these other researchers were William Shockley. So we're going to write down William Shockley. Oops. So William Shockley and Walter Brattain. I got to say it's probably Walter Brattain. These two guys. Okay. Now then. So Mr. Bardeen was working with these two guys at long last at the Bell Labs. These three researchers won a Nobel Peace Prize for their research and for the invention of the modern-day transistor in 1956. If you want to know more about Mr. Bardeen and his work, then you can read this web article, and I've got a web article. You can read all about it. There's going to be a third one down here in the comment section below. Not comment section, but description box below. So how do unipolar transistors work? If you look up the topic of unipolar transistors, you will find the topic of field effect transistors. They're the same thing. That's because unipolar transistors and field effect transistors are, of course, the same thing. If you do any research on field effect transistors, you will discover that they modulate the flow of electrical current. But in this case, what does the word modulate mean? Well, the word modulate comes from the Latin word modus, which means to measure. In this particular case, it means to regulate the measure of electric current. So in other words, what they're doing is they're regulating how much current passes through an electrical circuit. Remember, the electrons move one way and the current actually moves the opposite direction. And you'll remember that if you watch my watt, amp, and volt videos. When you research this topic, you will find the term signal amplification. So what is being amplified in the transistor? Usually you would be amplifying volts. As I stated in a previous video, volts are the force that pushes the electrons through the wire. So if you had 1 volt entering a transistor, then the transistor would amplify that volt. That means it would force the electrons to flow through the wire faster. There you go. In other words, if 1 volt enters the transistor, then you can cause the transistor to send 10, 20, or even 50 volts out of the transistor, which is that force that's pushing the current. It makes it go faster. The first field effect transistor was called the point contact transistor. And I have more web articles I want you to read, and there'll be links to them in the description box below. During World War II, Mr. Bardeen and his scientist friends quickly discovered how unreliable vacuum tubes were in relation to connecting telephone calls. That's why they decided to experiment with point contact transistors. These scientists used a metal called germanium as the base of their transistor. That's because the metal germanium has an excess of negative charged electrons. Okay? Then these scientists placed a thin layer of some other material which contained an excess amount of positive charged protons. The protons were called holes. That's because this thin layer was deficient in electrons. But their initial experiments were a complete failure. Mr. Bardeen suggested that the failure was due to the semiconductor surface. The electrons on the surface seemed to be blocking the penetration of the electric fields. So they decided to try something different. Since World War II had finally come to an end, they were finally able to obtain some gold. They melted the gold and fashioned two gold contacts, but they had to keep the gold contacts on top of the slab of high purity germanium. So they heated up some plastic and fashioned it in such a way as to keep the gold contacts in contact with the germanium. The voltage flowing through one of the gold contacts modulated the current flowing through the other contact. One of these point contacts was called the emitter, the other was called the collector. A positive electrical bias was applied to the emitter of the point contact transistor. This positive electrical bias enhanced the conductivity of the germanium, or germanium as the case may be, it was connected to. But there is one more piece of information you need to know about this. There was a base attached to the back of this germanium. I must admit at this point that I'm not an electrician, so I don't know exactly how all this stuff works. But I'm sure you could do some research on this topic and share your research with me on the comment section of this video. And I have a couple of videos that I'd like for you to watch to help you clarify everything I just told you. Eventually, the germanium was replaced with silicon because silicon could conduct electricity better. In my next video, which will be the MOSFET video, I will begin the discussion of metal oxide semiconductor. Okay, let me say that again. Metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistors. Okay, most of these kind of transistors are called a MOSFET. That's why, because they're a metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor. All right, I hope you will tune in at that time to watch that particular presentation. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Please leave me a nice comment in the comment section below. And more importantly, I'm glad you watched to the end because I think you learned a lot of stuff today. And even though you didn't see a whole lot of illustrations here, there were a couple of videos that I had you watch to further explain all this stuff. And I'm hoping I will go through a better explanation in my next video. So just because there's a lack of illustrations on this one doesn't mean there'll be a lack of illustrations on the next one. All right. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Huh. Anybody else? Okay. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a very short break. I'll be right back. Don't move. Don't go anywhere. Okay, I have returned. Wow. It's getting kind of hot in here. So we're going to try to cool things down just a bit. Let us go on here. All right. Okay. Now, my next set of videos will be kind of repeats of my other videos, except for the fact that I'm enhancing them. In other words, I did these videos 15 years ago, but then I'm going to go ahead and do them again. Only this time I'm going to provide some more details. All right, so let's go into this. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and you have come to the only channel that will never tell you that, well, they'll never say, oh, please, please, please hit that subscribe button, that like button, because it shares my videos everywhere. Well, let me tell you something. It's really nice when you do that kind of stuff. You hit the subscribe button, you hit the like button, but it's not going to get my videos shared everywhere. Oh, no. If you really want to share my videos, first of all, you can share them. Two, if you really want my videos shared around, the first thing I would do is watch this presentation all the way to the end, and also leave me a nice comment down here in the comment section below, because what YouTube is trying to do is to evaluate whether my video will keep you guys on their platform. Okay? So the trick is we want you to not only watch these videos all the way to the end, so it increases the watch time of the video, but also to leave me a nice comment to let YouTube know that, yes, you watched all the way to the end. There you go. All right. Now, the only other thing I'm going to mention right now is that I have 5 Kindle books. If you want to purchase any of them, please leave me a comment in the comment section below, and I will send you a link to at least one of them, and you can find the other 4 by just going that one link. All right? All right. Let's get into this, shall we? Can you associate 3 English grammar terms with 3 computer terms? Well, it turns out, yes, you can. Now, for some of you who have been here for a while, do you recall, say about, I don't know, 15 years ago when I uploaded a video, basically with this kind of title? Well, I'm now updating this, okay? Now I'm going to start with the grammar term noun. There you go. Now, I did upload a video about the etymology of the word noun. Well, that etymology reveals that the English word noun comes from the Latin word nomen or nominus, which means to name. Okay? So, the definition of this, okay, we got that. A web page object can be associated with the word noun because, if you use the word ball to describe a physical ball, then the effect is the same thing in computer web page terms, because if you have a text box, well, that's a text box. It's not doing anything. You're not changing the look of the text box. You're just saying that's the text box. There you go. Now, as you well know, most nouns have adjectives associated with them. There you go. Adjectives. Okay. Now, what you may not know is that the word adjective has an etymology as well. And I covered this in a previous video on my YouTube channel. You can look it up for yourself. And there is a prefix on that word, which is ad. Okay. And that is the prefix to or towards. And it also has, you see it, when it comes to adjective, you see jectus, but the problem with jectus is that the J was actually spelled with the letter I instead of letter J, and so therefore it sounded more like jectus instead of jectus because I was basically Y in Latin. So, so what you had was adjectus, which means to throw towards. So what this adjective does is it throws a description towards a noun, or it can throw a description towards a verb. Okay. And we can go through all of this, and I'm not going to go through a whole thing. So, if you want to describe, say, let's say you have a car and you want to say it's a yellow car. Well, the yellow would be an adjective, whereas the car would be a noun. See what I mean? And so, what you have with computers is you have the object, which would be a text box. And then if you wanted to change the size of the text box, or maybe the color inside the text box, or maybe the border of the text box, or you go on or whatever, you would change the property. So in the same way as a web page object is really a noun, then therefore a web page property is the same thing as an adjective. That's what I'm going for here. Okay? Now, many nouns can do things. Okay? Let me explain that to you. Let's say you have a bicycle. Bicycles go forward. And if you're somehow really, really clever, somehow they can go backwards too, or they can actually fall on the ground and you get injured because, say, you have a flat tire and all of a sudden your bike comes to a screeching halt and it throws you off the bike and your bike lands on somebody's lawn. At least we hope it lands on a lawn, or it could land on a road, and that would really be bad. But anyway, okay, there you go. So we had your noun, we have your adjective, and now we have the word verb. And this word verb sounds a lot like the English word herb, Herb. That's beside the point. The point is that it depends on who you ask as to how the word verbum is actually pronounced. Okay, you have verbum. This is a Latin word. And believe it or not, this Latin word actually means word. You're like, wait, what? Are you kidding me? Verbum means word? Yep, it does. All right. So you could have action verbums and passive verbums. Now, the thing is that if you ask some Latin teachers, they'll call it verbum because they pronounce all the V's as W's. Well, whichever way you want to go with this, there you go. So the thing is that a verb is usually an action word. It can be passive as well, but it can usually be an action. Now, if it's an action, that means the action is happening towards something. Okay. So if your bicycle hits a fire hydrant, then the action is transferred from the bicycle to the fire hydrant. What if it's a passive verb? Well, a passive verb means that the action is transferred back to the subject. So, um, if your bicycle hits the fire hydrant, then the vibrations for the fire hydrant, because you hit it, would transfer back to the bicycle. Get the picture? Okay. I mean, I could go through this grammar all day long, but we're not going to do that here. But the main thing is that when it comes to web pages, usually what you'll have is methods. What does the text box do? Well, in this case, the text box really doesn't do anything. However, if you had a command button, say you had a command button like that, and you clicked it with your mouse, it'd do something. Your web page would actually do something. So you can have command buttons, radio buttons, you name it, and if you click them, then boom, they'll do something. Anyway, so if you have a noun in English, you'll have an object on a web page. If you have an adjective in English, you will have a property on a web page. If you have a verb in English, you will have a method on a web page. And that's how that works. All right. I want to thank you very, very much for watching this particular presentation. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. All right. Hello, everybody. Guess nobody's here again. No problem. We'll just keep right on doing videos until we run out. Let's turn the air up just a little bit more because I am getting hot. And that's not good for me. Okay. Shall we continue? Why, of course we will. All right. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and you are on the only channel that will not ever tell you to please, please, please hit the subscribe button or hit the like button. And I'll tell you why. Because even though it's nice when you do that kind of stuff, and I really would like for you to do that, the thing is, it won't help my videos get shared anywhere. Okay? It's nice to have those things, but it's not going to get my video shared anywhere. How do you get this video shared? Well, one, you can share it yourself. Or two, you can do one of two things. You can help me increase the watch time of this video by watching the video all the way through, or you can leave me a nice comment in the comment section below. YouTube needs to see that my videos keep you guys on their platform. And if they see that, they'll share my videos. Otherwise, they won't. All right. So you say, okay. So then, if you really want to help this video, make sure that you watch it all the way through and leave me a nice comment. All right. Now, the other thing I'm going to say to you is please, if you want to read any of my Kindle books, I got 5 Kindle books on Amazon. Let me know. I'll leave you a hyperlink in the comment section below. You can click on that and read them for yourself. They're $5 a book. Go get them. Anyway, so what is the topic of this particular video? Well, have you ever wondered how a hard drive in a computer works? It's not that hard. Now, for solid state drives, it's a little different. But if you have one of these older hard drives, well, I'm going to tell you exactly how they work. What you do is you have an actual disk inside the hard drive. And then you have this little needle like this. And it's very similar to a record player. This disc will spin, okay? And this needle will pick up on whatever it is that it comes off the disk, and then it will transfer it back to either the CPU or the hard or random access memory, whatever, okay? Now then, let me expand on this just a little bit, okay? Now, in recent videos, I've been covering topics like, and I've been covering electrical topics like volt, amp, watt. I even presented an introduction to transistors. And actually tonight, I actually presented a discussion on unipolar transistors. I hope you check it out. So let's introduce you to computer hard drives. Now, I'm going to start this history lesson with a guy, and his name was Reynold Johnson. Reynold Johnson. And he used to be a high school teacher in Michigan. That is the state of Michigan here in the United States. His first invention was an electromechanical device. This device helped him automate the grading of pencil-marked multiple-choice tests. Have you ever seen those tests? And SAT, the first test would come to your mind would be the SAT or the ACT, and what you'd have is multiple-choice answers, and you'd mark them with a number 2 lead pencil. There you go. Although I have to say that in modern times, that those pencils are graphite. They're not real lead. When I was a kid, way back in the day, they could be lead, real lead. So graphite slowly changed all that. By the time I got out of high school, there wasn't lead in any pencils. But if you were back in the 1970s, you might find yourself with a real lead pencil. Okay. So anyway, what this Riddle Johnson did was he created a machine that could read those multiple choice tests and determine whether the person gave the right answers or not. Okay. Now, did anyone help Mr. Johnson create this electromechanical device? Well, the answer is yes. Two students who were convicted of stealing a radio from a school that Mr. Johnson was teaching in were given a chance to redeem themselves by working with Mr. Johnson. Okay. When Mr. Johnson and his assistants were finished building this electromechanical device, they presented it to the International Business Machines Corporation, otherwise known as IBM. But there was just a little problem. No one in this company was interested in their invention. Okay. But not all hope was lost. Oh, no. Mr. Johnson and his two assistants decided to travel to the Columbia University in New York City. They met a guy by the name of Benjamin Wood. There you go, Benjamin Wood. All right, now this Benjamin Wood, was a professor at Columbia University. Now, Professor Wood was a consultant to the International Business Machines Corporation, otherwise known as IBM. So Professor Wood said, oh, you know what? I'm going to go over to IBM and I'm going to present this machine to them again. And the thing was that Professor Wood was the person who actually created the multiple choice test in the first place. So he thought this machine would be a fantastic idea. Well, you might think that's the end of the story, but unfortunately, you'd be wrong. Professor Wood presented this machine all right to the IBM Corporation, but IBM said, hey, we're still not interested. They said, go suck an egg, and they told this Benjamin Wood to leave. All right. It wasn't until the machine was presented to another man, and that man's name was Thomas J. Watson Sr. There's Thomas J. Watson Sr. When this electromechanical machine that could read these multiple choice tests was actually presented to Thomas J. Watson Sr., well, this guy, this Mr. Watson Sr., was involved with merging punch card time clocks. Okay, he was merging okay, he was merging punch cards and time clocks and scales all together. Why? Don't ask me. That's what he was doing. So Mr. Wood presented this electromechanical device to Mr. Watson, and Mr. Watson said, hey, this is fantastic. I want this. Okay. So with IBM seeing that Mr. Watson liked this device, they said, all right, we'll go ahead and make it. So they hired Mr. Johnson on the spot. He invented many machines that IBM marketed, but his greatest invention wouldn't be created until after World War II. In 1952, the management team of IBM sent Mr. Johnson to San Jose, California. Wasn't that nice of him? So instead of having to deal with the blizzards of Michigan, now he had to deal with the earthquakes of California. Interesting. So Mr. Johnson decided to work on a couple of projects. The first project he wanted to work on was storing data randomly. Why was this important? Well, have you ever seen a stack of punch cards? What if you had to look through a stack of punch cards just to find a person's name, or their address, or their phone number, or anything else for that matter? It could take forever depending on how many cards are in the stack. Storing data randomly could make data retrieval much faster. But there is one other project he wanted to work on. He wanted to store data on laminated discs. So, Mr. Johnson created the IBM 305 RAMAC. And I bet you've guessed by now that RAMAC is an acronym. It represents the words Random Access Method of Accounting and Control. There's a mouthful. So, let me write this down for you so you know what I just said. So there's the acronym, and it stands for Random Access Method of Accounting and Control. Are we having fun yet? The IBM 305 RAMAC became the first random access disk drive. It could access data in literally seconds. Now, how does that work? Well, because computers at that time were able to finally store electrons onto transistors. Okay. And what happened was that either a transistor had electrons in it or it didn't. And if it had electrons, then it was considered a number 1. If it didn't, it was considered a number 0. Why does that sound so utterly familiar? Well, that's because that uh, you have something called the binary language. Okay. And this is where we get our bit and our byte. Okay. And so if you had a bit, it would be a 1 or a 0. If you have a byte, it has 8 different bits. Okay. So if you have a bit, you have either 1 or a 0. A combination of 8 of those bits forms a byte. Okay. Now, this technology eventually led to the creation of relational databases. Do you recall that I made a whole series of HTML lessons where I discussed XML and the EXIST database? A hard drive stores digital data on a magnetic material that covers a rigid rotating disk. Okay, so you remember how earlier in this video I showed you a disk and it was like a record player? Okay, there is a magnetic coating on that disk. That's how the electrical impulses travel from the hard disk straight into that little needle arm, which then travels either to the CPU or to the random access memory. Now, on a hard disk drive, what you have is something called a head, which is sort of like the needle on a record player. And it hovers over the magnetic material that covers the rigid rotating disk. The CPU of your computer instructs the heads in the hard disk drive. These instructions tell the heads where to find the data and where to store the data in the random access memory of the computer. If you want more information about these hard disk drives, feel free to read the web articles that I've included down here in the description below. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Okay, let's go on. I'll get a drink first, and then we'll go on. How about that? These videos will slowly get easier. All right. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight I'm going to discuss something called media cards. And I'm sure you've seen these if you've ever had a digital camera, or if you have a smartphone, you've had these media cards you stuck into them and they store extra information. Okay. Now, when it comes to Apple phones, what you'll have is these little flash drives. They work the same way as the media cards. Because you can't put a media card in an Apple phone. But if you have a Samsung phone, you can actually put these media cards in there. There you go. All right. Now, the history of media cards. I'm not going to do this. All right. Stand by. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and you have landed on the channel, probably the only channel on YouTube that will not beg you and plead for you to hit the subscribe button and the like button. Why? Because even though it's nice that you hit the subscribe button and you hit the like button, and that's great and that's fantastic, the key is it's not going to get my video shared everywhere. Okay? So, the thing is, if you really want my videos shared everywhere, there are two things you can do to this video to help it out. First of all, watch the presentation all the way through because it increases the watch time. And leave me a nice comment down here in the comment section below. Why is this? Because YouTube wants to see if my videos are going to keep you on their platform. And there are only two ways they can determine that. Number one, if they see the watch time going up on my videos, or two, if they see nice comments on my videos. It's the only way they can tell. So that's why I'd like for you to do that. If you want to subscribe, that's great. I'm thrilled you want to. And if you want to like this thing, fine. But it's not going to affect how much it's shared, no matter what they tell you. Anyway, one other thing I wanted to cover with you real quick is that I have published 5 Kindle books. If you want to read any of them, please go ahead and leave me a comment down here in the comment section below, and I'll send you a link to one of those books, and you can find the other 4 that way. Anyway, all right, let's get into this. All right, now, what's the topic of this particular video? Well, how much do you know about media cards? You've used them. If you've had a digital camera or you have a smartphone that's capable of taking on a media card, then you've used them. Now you say, well, wait a minute, my phone is an Apple phone. It can't take a media card. Well, if you've used a flash drive to store data from your phone, then there you go. Same technology. Okay. So the history of media cards is a little bit on the murky side. So I will only give you the information I was able to find, and then you'll just have to figure out the rest. If you know anything about the history of computers, you know that in the 1970s and the early 1980s, computers used hard disk drives and floppy disk drives to store documents, computer programs, and even photos. Yep, because of the early 1980s, there was just a little bit of technology where you could actually store bitmap and images and GIFs and very, very crude photos. Okay, they weren't really quite what you would understand today, but yes, you could do that. But it was very hard to do. Okay, because they really hadn't developed the Joint Photographic Experts Group to its fullest degree by that point. But anyway, but times have changed, and the storage of media, of computer media, has also changed. There were 2 companies that worked on storing large amounts of data in the early 1990s. The first company was the Iomega Company. They created something called the zip drive and something called a zip disk. I do know that this was created in 1994, but I am still struggling to discover who created this media and exactly when this media was released to the general public, because that's where I get a little murky on this. But I will tell you that the Iomega Company was founded by a guy by the name of David Bailey. Okay. And he had a friend named David Norton, and they worked together and they founded this company. They received some funding from the Bass family, who were located in the state of Texas. Okay, so I guess I better write down a couple of names here. Okay, this is David Bailey and David Norton. They were friends and they founded the Iomega Company. During the 1980s, this company followed a financial rocky road. They weren't all that successful right off the bat. Then, believe it or not, there was a guy, and his name was Kim B. Edwards. He marketed the zip drive and the zip disks. They could store more information than a floppy disk drive and would be less expensive. The zip drive was released by the Iomega Corporation in 1994. Now, I have left you a link to a web article that will explain this a little bit better. Was the Iomega drive the only computer media released in 1994? Well, no, it wasn't. There was also one called the Compact Flash Media Card. That's right. At the same time as Iomega released their zip drive, there was also something called the Compact Flash Card that was also introduced to the general public. The idea of flash computer memory was nothing new. As you have probably noticed in my previous videos, I've been discussing the history of transistors. The history of transistors led to the creation of flash memory. As you continue to watch my videos, you will see lessons about this transistor revolution. But right now, we're going to go back to the subject at hand. Okay? We had some guys that came along in 1988. And don't ask me to pronounce these names because I don't know how to do that. Now, with these three names, I'll do my very best to pronounce them, but I'm not going to make any guarantees on this. We have Eli Harari, I'm guessing. We have Sanjay Mehrotra, I'm guessing. And we have Jack Yaw. And hopefully I got those right. Okay. Now, these three guys, formed something called the SanDisk Corporation. In December 1994, the compact flash card was finally released. The compact flash card utilized the technology of the USB ports on computers to store documents, photos, and even small videos. That's right. By this time, the motion picture expert group had finally come to be, and there you go. Now, if you want to read more about the invention of the compact flash card, there's a web article down here in the description box below. You can read about that. Of course, the Sony Corporation was not going to be left out of this technology competition, so they invented something called the memory stick and released it to the general public in 1998. But do you think that the SanDisk Corporation was just going to stand back and let Sony dominate the media card market? Of course they wouldn't do that. So they teamed up with the Panasonic and Toshiba Corporation and invented the Secure Digital Card in 1999. Now, for those of you who don't know, I see this all the time. How many of you people are familiar with this? And what happens usually when they look at this? They say, well, SD stands for SanDisk. No, it doesn't. Nope. Although this was made by the SanDisk Corporation, the SD in this stands for Secure Digital. It was invented by the SanDisk Corporation and the Panasonic Corporation and the Toshiba Corporation. They all got together and they made these cards. But that wasn't the end of the story. Nope. The competition grew when the Olympus and Fujifilm Corporation joined forces with the Extreme Digital Card. Okay. So you have the Olympus Corporation, which is primarily for cameras, and you had Fujifilm, which again is people who make film for cameras. Now they make cameras too. And Fuji actually helped put Eastman Kodak Corporation out of business. So these two companies, Olympus and Fujifilm, got together and they made the Extreme Digital Card. This card was released to the general public in July of 2002. Since that time, the Secure Digital Card has basically won the media card marketing war and now can be found in most cameras and most computer devices. If you want to know more about the history of every one of these cards, feel free to ask me because I'll give it to you. But anyway, that's all I've got. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Oh, nobody else, huh? Okay. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and I'm probably the only YouTube channel on YouTube right now that tells you guys, hey, look, I don't care what those other YouTube channels are telling you, but um, if you honestly believe that having a guy like me going, please, 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 and subscribe to my channel and hit the like button so it gets shared all over the place. Well, let me tell you something. It's nice when you guys subscribe to me, and it's nice when you guys uh, hit that like button on my videos. But when it comes to YouTube, neither one will affect how my videos get shared. The first thing you can do is you can share my videos, or two, you could do something else. You can either watch this video presentation all the way to the end, which will cause my ratings to go up, or you can leave a nice comment in the comment section below. Why is that the reality on YouTube? Well, I'll tell you why. Because YouTube wants to see if my videos are going to keep you guys on their platform. And there's only two ways they can tell whether that'll happen or not. Watching the watch time on my videos, and number two, you guys uh leaving nice comments in my videos. So anyway, if you guys want to, I have published 5 Kindle books. If you want to read any of them, please leave me a comment in the comment section below, and I'll send you a link to one of the books, and you can buy that, and the other ones can be easily found from that link. Okay, so what is an add-in, and why do you need to know it? Well, I'll tell you why. Because if you really want to sound smart in a math class, you'll want to know this. All right, so here we go. Here's a basic math problem. Now, it depends on whether you go with Common Core math or the math we went through when we were kids as to whether this is correct or not. But believe me, the old-fashioned math said that's correct, and so therefore, let's go with this. So what's an add-in? Well, that is an add-in, and so is this. These numbers that you're adding together are add-ins. So what's this number called? Well, it's called a sum. So what you do is you say the add-in 2 added to the add-in 2 gives you the sum of 4. That's how you'd write it out if you're writing out an English sentence. And that's how that works. All right. I want to thank you very much for watching this presentation. I will tell you more in a future presentation, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight I'd like to tell you what the difference is between a minuend and a subtrahend, and you're probably sitting there going, I've never heard of either one. Well, you're about to hear about them tonight, but before I do, I'm probably the only YouTube channel on YouTube right now that says, you know what? It's really nice when you guys subscribe to my channel and you hit the like button, but I am not going to sit here and go, please, please, please subscribe to my channel so my videos get shared. I'm not going to do that. And you know why? Because that's not how YouTube really works. It's nice when you subscribe to me, and it's definitely nice when you hit the like button, but it's not going to get my video shared anywhere. Nope. There are two things that will do that. Number one, watching this video all the way through so it increases the watch time. And two, if you will leave me a nice comment in the comment section below. Oh, okay. So, why does that work? Because YouTube, okay, wants to know if my videos are keeping you guys on their platform. And there are only two ways they can tell that. And I've just told you the two ways they can tell that. So, please watch this video all the way to the end and make sure you leave me a nice comment in the comment section below so this video gets shared where it needs to go. All right. Now, one other thing I want to mention real quick is I have published 5 Kindle books. If you want to buy any of them, please let me know. They're only $5 a piece. Just go ahead and leave a comment in this comment section below. I'll send you a link, and there you go. All right, so what is the difference between a minuend and a subtrahend, and where does it all come from? Well, let's introduce a math problem. There's your math problem. 10 minus 5 equals 5. Unless, of course, you're doing Common Core. Who knows what your answer will actually be? But we're not going to focus on Common Core because we do traditional math here. There you go. All right. So, what's the minuend of this math problem? Well, I'll circle it for you. There is the minuend of the math problem. That's right, the 10 is the minuend of this math problem. And this particular 5 right here is the subtrahend. Okay? Now, what is this number called right here? Well, this number is called the difference. So the difference between the minuend and the subtrahend is the difference. There you go. Now then, so let's give you some etymology. I would have given you the etymology of add in, but it's like you can look that up for yourself. But anyway, let's go through the etymology of the minuend and the subtrahend. The etymology of the word minuend is not entirely clear, but we do have the Latin verb minuere, which can be found, and it can be found in the word diminish. Okay. So what about the etymology of the word subtrahend? Well, obviously, this word contains the Latin prefix sub, which means under, and it also contains the Latin verb trahere, which means to pull. So you're literally pulling something under. So you're pulling a number away from another number. You're actually pulling a number underneath another number. There you go. All right, so now you know what a minuend, a subtrahend, and a difference is. And you can write it out in English if you need to. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Anybody at all? Okay. That's not going to stop this. I just want to make sure I'm creating this letter correctly. Okay. That kind of looks ugly. Let's try it again. Up like this. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight I'm going to tell you what this is. This is an ampersand. But you're saying, well, wait a minute, that's not the end of the video, is it? And I'm like, no, not at all. So, what is an ampersand and why do we have it and all this other stuff? Well, I'm going to explain that to you in just a second. But before I do, I'm probably the only YouTube channel on YouTube right now that doesn't go, please, please, please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button so my videos get shared everywhere. You know why I'm not? Because I know that doesn't work. It's nice when you subscribe to my channel. It's nice when you like my videos, but that's not going to get my video shared. You're like, well, what does? Well, I've talked to Daryl. Well, I haven't really talked to him, but I have listened to Daryl Eves and Roberto Blake, and they have specifically stated two things that really will get your video shared. Number one is if you watch the video all the way through. Videos that are watched all the way through will be shared by YouTube. Number two, and most importantly, leaving a nice comment down here in the comment section below. Why does all that work? Because YouTube is trying to determine, okay, they're trying to determine whether my videos are keeping you guys on their platform. And that's how they tell. All right, so now you know. All right, in the meantime, I would like for you guys, if you want to buy a copy of any of my Kindle books, leave me a comment in the comment section below, and I will personally send you a link to at least one of the books, and you can find the other books through that link. All right, I will tell you more. Let's go ahead and talk to you about ampersand. How was it created? Why do we use it? And did you know that it was actually the 27th letter of the English alphabet for a while? Yes. To comprehend the ampersand, you have to look carefully at the Latin language. That's right, you have to know Latin for this one. In the Latin language, the word et represents the word and. But what if you could, in shorthand, in a shorthand way, merge the letters E and T together? Well, you can. You would create the ampersand if you did that. And that's exactly what some people in Pompeii did prior to the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. That's exactly what they did. So they literally created a shortcut or a shorthand symbol to represent the Latin et, which, of course, the Latin et is the word for and. The ampersand character would change several times between the destruction of Pompeii and the character we have today. At one point in the United States, the ampersand was literally the 27th letter of our English alphabet, believe it or not. So, I encourage you to research this character in great detail in the not so distant future. In the meantime, I thank you very much for watching this particular presentation. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. All right, it looks like I got somebody in the room. Please let me know who you are. That way I know what I'm doing. All right? I'd love to hear from you. All right. Well, anyway, I'm going to take a very short break and I'll be right back. So stay tuned. Okay. I see we got somebody else in the live stream. Please tell me who you are. Okay, we don't have anybody in the live stream. That'll be fine. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and I'm probably the only channel on YouTube right now that's not going, oh, please, please, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, because it'll share my video everywhere. Why won't I do that? Well, I'm going to tell you the exact reason why. The reason why I will not do that is because it's nice when you subscribe to me. It's nice when you like my videos, but it's not going to get my videos shared anywhere. There are two things that can do this, and I found this out from Daryl Eves and Roberto Blake. And those two things are as follows. Number one, watch this video all the way to the end, and that will increase the watch time of the video, which YouTube definitely pays attention to. And secondly, leave me a nice comment in the comment section below. Why? Because YouTube is trying to determine if my videos are going to cause you to stay on their platform. And there are only two ways that can be done, and I just told you the two. There you go. All right, in the meantime, I wanted to let you guys know that I have published 5 Kindle books. They're $5 a piece. If you're interested in them, leave me a comment in the comment section below, and I'll send you a link, and you can buy them. Okay? All righty. So, why would you want to know any details about the Courier font? Well, if you've ever used it, you'll probably want to know a lot of stuff. All right, so we got to talk about a guy named Howard Kettler. Whoops. I'm mispronouncing. I'm misspelling his name would be more like. Howard Kettler. Who in the heck was he? Well, he was the guy that created the Courier font back in 1955. He designed the font for the International Business Machines Corporation. Does that sound familiar? I wonder if that sounds familiar. Oh, yes, there was that little guy that invented that machine that was able to successfully process all those multiple choice tests. You remember that video? I bet you do, because I just recorded tonight. But it's unclear if he was one of their employees. I'm not really sure. I tried to find it out, and I couldn't find it. He initially planned to call this font the Messenger font, but he decided that the name Messenger was not fancy enough for his font, so he decided to call it the Courier font. Now, the name Courier comes from the Latin verb currere, which means to run. At this point, you may want to ask yourself if this is a fast font to create. Mr. Kettler didn't copyright the font, so it's in the public domain. It has been used in many screenplays. If you want to tell me a little bit more information about the Courier fonts, go ahead and leave comments in the comment section below. If you want to tell me anything else, leave comments in the comment section below. In the meantime, I want to thank you very much for watching this particular presentation, and I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Good evening, everyone. It's once again Ted the Speed Learner, and you're probably asking yourself, what the heck is an M3U file? I'm going to tell you about that in a second. But first of all, I'm probably one of the only YouTube channels that you will see on the platform right now that doesn't go, oh, please, please subscribe to my channel and make sure you hit the like button. You know why I'll never do that? Because even though it's nice when you guys do that, and I encourage you to subscribe to me and I encourage you to hit the like button, it's not going to get my videos shared. Oh, no. I know nobody's ever told you this, but it's true. What does get your video shared is two things. Number one, watch the video all the way through so we can increase the watch time of the video. Okay. And number two, leave me some nice comments in the comment section below. Why do these things work? Because YouTube is trying to determine whether my videos keep you guys on their platform. And there are only two ways they can determine that, and I just told you what they were. All right, so let's go on here. I have published 5 Kindle books. If you're interested in any of them, leave me a comment in the comment section below. And I will send you a link to at least one of those books, and you can find the other 4 from that link. All right. So, what is an M3U file and why do you need to know? Well, in a previous video, I discussed the Moving Picture Experts Group. Their file format had 3 layers. The third layer is called the Audio Layer 3. This is why you'll see the familiar MP3 file extension. But what if you see a file extension called an M3U? Well, let's discuss that. The letter U in the M3U file format is the first letter of another acronym, believe it or not. And that acronym is the URL acronym. Well, what does that acronym stand for? Well, I'm going to present that in a future video. I actually talked about it once before, but I'm going to present it again. So when you see the acronym or file format M3U, remind yourself that the entire acronym is MP3 URL. Now, if you guys are getting confused here, let me fix that right now. So you see the file M3U, but really you should be looking at MP3. Whoops, that's not going to work. MPR, MP3. All right, and URL. So when you see this, you really should be seeing this. But this is too long, so that's why they condensed it. All right. Now, this file format represents a playlist file format. Okay, that'd be like a playlist of songs or playlist of music videos or even a playlist of videos. Okay. So, what is the history of the M3U file format? Well, we have to know a couple of names. The first name is Justin Frankie. I'll write his name down. Whoops. Again, I misspelled his name. Oh, I sure misspelled that too. Okay, so we have Justin Frankie, that's one of them, and we have Dmitry Boldarev, I guess, Boldarev. That's about the best I can come up with. If I'm wrong with these pronunciations, feel free to correct me. All right. So these 2 gentlemen right here were working with a company called Nullsoft, and they helped create a computer application called Winamp. WINAMP. These files did not contain any audio or video media. Instead, what they contained, they had a list of URLs that showed a computer where audio and video files could be located. All right, so that means that these were playlist files. But a problem developed. That's because these particular playlist files could not read Unicode characters. And I know I need to make a video about Unicode characters, but I'll make that in another day. So they had a problem telling computers where to go to find certain videos and audio files. Eventually, this problem was corrected, and now M3U files are called M3U8. The number 8 is derived from the acronym UTF-8. And I'll explain UTF-8 in a future video. All right, so I've got an article, a web article. There is a link to it in the description box of this video below. Feel free to read it. You can learn more about the M3U file. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Okay. Let's see here. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted, the Speed Learner. And you're probably sitting there going, why are you the only YouTube channel that will not stand there and say, please, please, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button so it'll share my videos? Well, I'll tell you why. Because it won't. I like it when people subscribe to my channel. I definitely like it when they hit the like button, but it's not going to share my video anywhere. Oh, no. There are only two things that will share my videos on YouTube. Number one, if you watch the video presentation all the way to the end. And number two, most importantly, if you will leave a nice comment in the comment section below. It's the only two ways that my videos get shared everywhere. So, why is that? Because YouTube is trying to determine if my videos keep you guys on their platform. So you're like, okay. So these are the only two ways they can determine that. And that's why I'm going to tell you. Watch this video all the way to the end, and more importantly, leave me a nice comment on the video. That'll help. In the meantime, I have published 5 Kindle books. I would be thrilled and delighted if you will purchase one of them. If you want to, just leave me a comment in the comment section below, and I will send you a link to at least one of these books, and you can read it, and you can find the other four books that way. Thank you very much. And now on to the video. All right. So what is the ARPANET? ARPANET. So ARPANET is actually an acronym. In the 1960s, there was a branch of the United States Department of Defense called the Advanced Research Projects Agency. This agency researched all kinds of technology, but we will focus on its research on how to create computer networks. As you have seen, we know that the acronym ARPA stands what it stands for. The word net is self-explanatory, okay? Because that's like your network connection. All right. A computer network pioneer named Bob Taylor urged the Department of Defense to create and fund a computer network. But this network would be different from all other computer networks. Instead of one computer being dominant over all other computers that were connected to the network, every computer on the network would be treated equally. So they would all be equally important. Why did these computers need to be treated equally? It was important to share files from one computer to another computer. This wouldn't have been possible if one computer on the network was dominant over every other computer on the network. Approximately 4 computers were connected together in 1969. The major computers were located in major universities. By 1972, approximately 37 computers were networked together. By this point, people were able to send electronic mail from one computer on this network to another computer. Between 1969 and 1972, the ARPANET was using a network control protocol. But new computers were being added to the ARPANET at a brisk pace. At first, the people researching the ARPANET created a transmission control protocol to compensate for the number of computers that were added to the network. But by 1982, many universities across the country created their own networks, and they wanted to interface with the ARPANET. Unfortunately, these computers couldn't interface with the ARPANET because the transmission control protocol couldn't keep up with all those other computer networks. Okay, because each network was designed a little differently, so therefore they had to compensate for that. So a new technology was created. It was called the Uniform Resource Locator. All right. Now, I will discuss the network control protocol, the transmission control protocol in future videos. So, until then, I would like for you to stay tuned. Well, I see my video has gotten 2 likes, even though there's nobody in here right now. I hope you have found all this stuff very informative. Still got a lot to cover. Good evening, everybody. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner. And tonight, you're probably asking yourself, what is a network control protocol? Well, I'm going to tell you about that in just a second. But first of all, I'm probably the only YouTube channel on the YouTube platform that doesn't go, oh, please, 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 please subscribe to me and like my video so it gets shared everywhere. Why don't I do that? Well, it's nice when you subscribe to me, and I certainly like it when you like my videos, but it's not going to get them shared anywhere. There are two ways you can get my videos shared. One, share them yourself, or two, you can either watch this video all the way to the end, which would increase the watch time of the video, or you can leave me a nice comment in the comment section below. Why is this? Because YouTube is trying to determine whether my videos are going to keep you guys on their platform. And these are the only two ways they can do that. So there you go. All right. Now, one more thing before we get into this. I have 5 Kindle books. If you want to buy any of them, leave me a comment in the comment section below, and I'll send you a link, and you can buy at least one of them, and that link will send you to the other links, and you can buy all 5. Okay, so what is a network control protocol? Well, a network control protocol is a simplex protocol. What does that mean? It means that computer A can send data to computer B, but from what I understand, computer A can't receive any data from any other computer. But before I continue, I have to explain the concept of data packets. Okay? Data packets are small chunks of data that are sent from one computer to another. For instance, if you create a large piece of electronic mail, like say you have a big email with a bunch of attachments, then this email would be sliced into small packets of data. Then each packet would be sent from one computer to another computer. But let's return to our topic at hand. If computer A could send packets of data to computer B, then could computer B send data to computer A? From what I've read in this web article, which I've included a link to down here in the description box below, I have to say that computer B could send data to computer A, but computer A couldn't receive the data from B using this protocol. Another protocol was developed for this purpose. I will explain that in a future video. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and you're probably asking yourself right now, what is a transmission control protocol, and why should you even care? Well, I'll tell you why in just a minute, but first of all, I want to tell you guys that I'm probably the only YouTube channel that you have ever seen that doesn't stand there and go, oh, please, 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 hit the subscribe button, hit the like button so my video gets shared everywhere. Please. It's nice when you subscribe to my channel, and it's nice when you like my videos, but it's not going to get them shared everywhere. And why is that? Well, that is because there are 2 things that actually will get my video shared. All right. Now, you could share these videos yourself, or you could do one of the following. Either watch this video all the way to the end so it increases the watch time of the video, or you can leave me a nice comment in the comment section below, because YouTube is trying to determine whether my videos will keep you guys on their platform. And that's how they tell. All right. So anyway, to carry on just one step further, I have published 5 Kindle books. If you're interested in any of them, leave me a comment in the comment section below, and I will send you a hyperlink, which will show you how to get to those books. Okay, let's begin. What is a transmission protocol, and why should you care? Now, you may think that the transmission control protocol is just one computer protocol, but you'd be very mistaken. It's a suite of communication protocols designed to help computers communicate with each other. It is vastly superior to the network control protocol that was discussed in a previous video, which I recorded tonight. If you will recall, I discussed data packets in a previous video. How are these data packets how these data packets are formed and how they are sent across the internet is overseen by the transmission control protocol. This protocol, unlike the network control protocol, allows data packets to be sent and received by two computers practically simultaneously. If you want me to discuss this topic further, feel free to let me know. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and you're probably asking yourself at this very point, what is packet switching and why should you care? Well, before I answer that, I'm going to tell you right now that I'm probably one of the only YouTube channels on this platform that's not going, please, please, please hit that subscribe button and hit the like button so my videos get shared everywhere. You know why? Because I know that's not going to work. Oh, yes, it's very nice if you subscribe to my channel, and it's very nice when you like my videos, but it's not going to get them shared anywhere. Oh, no, I don't know who told you that, but it's not going to work. There are two approaches to this that really will work. Now, obviously, you can share these videos for yourself anywhere you like. But the big things that I want you to do is, number one, watch this video presentation all the way through so it increases the watch time of my videos. And two, more importantly, leave me a nice comment in the comment section below. Because what YouTube is trying to do is they're trying to determine whether my videos will keep you guys on their platform. And that's the two ways they can tell. All right. Now, I have published 5 Kindle books. And if you want to read any of them, leave me a comment in the comment section below. And I will post a hyperlink, which will lead you to the Kindle books. Okay? That being said, what is packet switching and why would you care? The concept of computer packet switching was developed by a guy by the name of Paul Barron. Packet switching involves chunks of computer data being grouped into packets. All of these packets have headers that indicate where the packet is supposed to go. You could compare a packet header to an address that you would place in a postal envelope or a postal package. But let's take a much closer look at a packet header. Just like any physical package, a computer packet header will contain the address of the source computer and the destination computer. The packet header, okay, like I said, you can compare all of this. Let's say you have a package. You have some addresses like this. And we could even make this a three-dimensional. I know this is kind of sloppy, but there's your package. See how you have addresses on your package? Okay, now, what about this package header? That would be like this, the front of the box, where you got all your address stuff on. Okay? Now, this packet header would contain the address of the source computer, which would be what this is up here, and the destination computer, which would be this right here. Now, this packet header would also contain some other information. Since you have disassembled the email, you will want each packet to contain information to tell the computer which part of the data it's receiving. Okay? So, first of all, you would receive the email address, then you would receive the subject matter of the email, and then you would receive the contents of the email. Okay? So, like I said, you'd have to tell the computer what's inside the box. Let's say what's inside the box is the address of the computer that you're sending this to. Then the next packet would have the information about what was in the subject line, and the next packet would have what the text of the email is. Okay, so you'd want to tell the computer, hey, This is packet 1, this is packet 2, this is packet 3. So this thing would receive like a ton of these little packages. Okay, so if computer A decided to send a ton of these packages to computer B, it'd receive a ton of these. Okay, all right. That way, computer B can reassemble your email based on what computer A sent it. Now, what is a packet payload? Well, that's what's actually in the box. So what would be inside the box? Well, that would probably be the text of your email. That would be inside the box. Okay. So a packet payload was to be the contents of your box. All right. So what actually is packet switching? Well, let's imagine that there are 3 wires connecting computer A to computer B. Okay, so we're going to draw computer A. Let's do this. And computer B. Now you see there's 3 wires connecting computer A and B. Now these are monitors. Those are computer monitors. And now you have A and B. These are your actual computers. And these 3 wires connect them. Okay. Now, let's say that the first computer packet is sent along this very first wire right here. Now, computer A wants to send the next packet. But the thing is, right now, it's sending the first packet across here. So what does it do? It sends the second packet through the second line. All right? So it has to do something called a packet switch. What it actually does is it actually says, okay, if computer wire A is busy sending data, then send packet 2 through line 2 or whatever. Okay. Because what can happen is, let's say computer B wants to send data back to computer A. So let's say it decides to send a data packet to A. Well, if A is busy sending a packet to B on line 1, then it'll send its packet from B to A on line 2. And then let's say that A wants to send packet 2, so it would send it from A to B on line 3. And that's called packet switching. Now, I do have some I do have a web article. You can read about all of this, and then you can go on from there. All right. Well, I want to thank you very much for watching this particular presentation. I hope you learned a lot. I certainly did. I will tell you more in a future presentation, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. There we go. Oh, sorry, I had to rest my voice for a minute. There we go. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and you're probably asking yourself, what the heck is this? Well, this is Koine Greek Epsilon. That's right. This is the Koine Greek letter Epsilon. You say, well, what is it and why do we need to know it? Well, I'll explain that in just a minute. But first of all, I'm probably the only YouTube channel on this entire platform that doesn't go, oh, please, please, please hit the subscribe button and hit the like button to share my videos. I'm not going to do that. Why? Because even though it's really nice when you subscribe to me and you hit the like button, that's great. But here's the thing, it's not going to share my videos anywhere. There are a couple of things you can do to get my videos shared everywhere, but that's not them. Oh, no. So what does work? Well, number one, you can share the video yourself, or you can actually watch this video all the way to the end, which increases the watch time of the video, which YouTube notices. And two, you can actually leave a comment in the comment section below, a very nice comment. And if you leave a very nice comment, my videos get shared. Okay? And why is that? Because YouTube, right? They want to see if my videos are keeping you guys on their platform. And this is the only way they can tell. All right. So I also have 5 Kindle books. If you want to purchase any of them, please leave me a comment in the comment section below. And I will send you a hyperlink to those books. Without any further ado, what is the Koine Greek Epsilon? Okay. Well, I'll show you. The Koine Greek letter epsilon is the 5th letter of the Koine Greek alphabet. But how would you remember this letter? One way you can remember this letter is to know that this letter was the inspiration for the symbol of the euro. That's right. If you've ever seen the euro currency, it looks a lot like the Koine Greek epsilon. Or you can consult the agricultural industry. The efficiency of photosynthesis is represented by the Koine Greek letter epsilon. I welcome you to do more research on this letter. Perhaps you will find more creative ways to remember this letter of the Greek alphabet. But why is it important for you to know? Well, because a lot of times you see these funky math symbols on your mathematics. Well, it's not funky math symbols, it's Koine Greek letters. They didn't tell me that. They should have. Anyway, that's all I've got on this particular video. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. All right. Good evening, everybody. It's once again Ted the Speed Learner. And probably you're asking yourself right now, what is the Koine Greek zeta? What is this letter? This letter of the Koine Greek alphabet, and why would I even care? Well, before I answer that, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you that I'm probably the only YouTube channel on this entire platform that doesn't go, oh, please, 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 you've got to subscribe to me and hit the like button so my videos get shared everywhere. Well, it's really nice if you do subscribe to me, and I certainly would appreciate if you would like the video. However, it's not the real way that YouTube shares my videos. Now, yes, granted, you could share these videos for yourself, okay, on any platform you like. But there are two specific ways that YouTube determines whether my videos get shared or not. Number one is if you watch these videos all the way to the end, which would increase the watch time of the videos. Therefore, they'll be more likely to share them. Number two, leave me a nice comment in the videos, because what YouTube's trying to determine is whether my videos keep you guys on their platform. And those are the ways that it determines that. Okay. Having said that, I can also say that I have 5 Kindle books, and you are more than welcome to read any of them. If you want to read them, if you want to buy them, let me know in the comment section below. I'll send you a hyperlink, and there you go. All right. Let's get down to the actual content of the video. Now, the Koine Greek letter zeta, which is this one right here, is actually the 6th letter of the Koine Greek alphabet, but its numerical value is actually 7. It's derived from the Phoenician alphabet. Specifically, the Koine Greek letter zeta was derived from the Phoenician letter Zion. Okay, that's here. I'll spell it out for you. So there's the Phoenician letter. It's called Zion. If you have ever taken a chemistry class, and the Koine Greek letter zeta may sound familiar to you, it represents the effective nuclear charge of an electron. But I bet you can find some other interesting facts about this letter. And if you do, feel free to leave all that information down here in the comment section of this video. All right. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight I'm going to show you how to write the cursive letter M in cursive, obviously. But before I do, I wanted to let you guys know that you're saying, well, why aren't you like the other YouTubers on YouTube? And you don't go, well, please subscribe to my channel and like my videos so I can share them. Well, that's because it doesn't work that way. It's nice when you subscribe to my channel, and I love it when you like my videos, but it's not going to share my videos anywhere. Why is that? I'll explain that in a minute. But there are ways to actually share my videos. Number one is you can share them yourself on your own little platforms, whether you're on Twitter or Facebook or wherever you're at. Share them there. Secondly, and more importantly, is if you leave me nice comments in the comment section below. Why does this work? Because YouTube is trying to determine whether my videos cause you to stay on their platform. And these are the only 2 ways it can determine that. There you go. All right. And one other thing is that I have published 5 Kindle books. If you're interested in any of those, leave me a comment in the comment section below, and I will go ahead and send you a hyperlink to those books, and you can read them for yourself. Okay, let's talk about the cursive letter M. This is how you write the cursive letter M. Okay. So How about this? Let's say you wanted to write the word nail. You could do that. How about the word mad? You could write that. Or you could write the word made. There you go. See, basically what you're doing is you're having this curve up here going down, down like this. And with this one, you just do like this. And that's how you do that. All right. I will tell you more in a future video. So I would like for you to stay tuned. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner. How do you write the cursive letter N? Well, I'm going to tell you all about that in just a second. But first of all, I'm probably the only YouTube content creator that doesn't get on the platform on a regular basis and says, "Oh, please, please, please subscribe to my channel and make dang sure that you hit the like button so my videos get shared." You know why that doesn't work? Well, I'm going to tell you why in just a second. But first of all, you can actually share my videos on whatever media, whatever social media platform you're on, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, doesn't matter. You can do that for yourself. Or you could do one of two things. Either watch this video all the way through, so my watch time goes up on the video and it gets shared, or you can leave me a nice comment in the comment section below. Why is this? Because YouTube is trying to determine whether my videos keep you guys on their platform, and this is the only two ways they can do that. That's why I don't do the rest of it. All right. Now, I have published 5 Kindle books. If you're interested in any of them, please leave me a comment in the comment section below, and I will send you a link to the Kindle books, and you can read them for yourself. All right, let's go through this. Here's how you make the cursive letter N. Now, what if you wanted to write the word nail? Well, you can do that. You can go N, A, I, and L. That's how you can do that. Or you could write the proper name of the word Dan. Just like that. You can write all kinds of words using this. So go ahead and practice. Do it. Let's see what you come up with. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Well, still nobody. Okay, that's fine. Good evening, everybody. Is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and you are watching the cursive letter O and how to write it, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But before I do, you're probably asking yourself, um, well, um, why is it that you're the only YouTuber on this platform that doesn't sit there and go, "Oh, please, please, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button so my videos get shared everywhere"? Because I know it doesn't work that way. So wait a minute, why not? Well, first of all, if you want to share my videos, you are more than welcome to take the links to the videos and share them on any of your social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, you name it, share it. Or you can actually leave a nice comment in the comment section below. Why is this? Because YouTube is trying to determine whether my videos keep you guys on their platform. And this is the only two ways they can do that. So that's why I say this. All right, now I have published 5 Kindle books. If you want to buy any of them, you are more than welcome to leave me a comment in the comment section below, and I will be more than happy to send you a link to the books. All right, so we're dealing with the cursive letter O. Okay. So how do you write this? I'm trying to think of some words that might work. Well, we have the proper name of Bob. There's Bob. Or you could trying to think of some other words that can be used right now. Because see, my problem is we haven't shown you all 26 letters of the alphabet, so I have to find words that fit within what I've already shown you. Um, well, that'll work. There's the word cold. Or you could write the word doll at this point. There you go. There's the word doll. All right. I would be thrilled and delighted if you would show me what you've done with all this information. All right. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Good evening, everybody. It's once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight I am going to show you how to write the cursive letter P. But before I do, I wanted to let you know that I'm probably the only YouTuber on this platform that doesn't go, oh, please, 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 hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and it'll share my videos. Why? Why won't I do that? Well, I'll tell you why. Well, the reason is, well, first of all, you can actually share these videos on any social media platform you like. Just get the URL and copy it, paste it, and throw it out there, and everybody can see it. But the other thing is that there are only 2 ways that YouTube will ever share your videos. Number one is if you increase the watch time of the video. Watch these videos all the way through. It'll help my ratings like you wouldn't believe. Number two, and most importantly, is leave a nice comment in the comment section below. Okay. And why is that? Because YouTube is trying to determine whether my videos are keeping you guys on their platform. And the only way they can do that is through those 2 metrics. All right, now I have published 5 Kindle books. If you are interested in any of them, let me know in the comment section below, and I will send you a hyperlink to the books, and you can go check them out and read them and buy them and so on and so forth. All right, now then, having covered all that, let's talk about the cursive letter P. All right, so we can actually write the word L-I-P, lip, like that. We can write L-A-P, or we can actually write L-A-B. There's lab. Or we can write the word place, P-L-A-C-E. There you go, place, just like that. All right, I encourage you to use these cursive letters. Let me know how you do. I like to see your work. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Now, I don't know whether you've noticed or not, but I'm getting tired. I have been on this platform now for 2 hours and 37 minutes. That's a long time to be on YouTube. I wouldn't expect it to be this long. And yes, I do have more notes, but I'm getting tired and I'm going to have to do the rest on another night. I want to thank you guys very much for watching this particular presentation. And I hope to hear your feedback really, really soon. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned.